Hello again. So now we're gonna learn how to say things in a negative form. So for example, I have a dog. J'ai un chien would be je n'ai pas de chien. Okay? So you see the un, it changed into de. So basically, when you say you don't say I don't have one dog, I have zero dog. Okay? So you replace by deux. Once you don't have any, you can't put a number on it. So then you just put deux. Okay? So, and it's like saying zero. In French, when we make a negative sentence with avoir, we don't keep un, une, des. We use deux or the apostrophe if the next word starts with a vowel. And it's like saying zero bike. So we use deux. Okay, so I don't have a cat is je n'ai pas de chat. Je n'ai pas de chat. Okay. So what would be I have a cat? I have a cat would be j'ai un chat. Okay. I have a dog is j'ai un chien. How would you say I don't have a dog? You would say je n'ai pas de chien. Okay, so you see what happens here. We surround the verb avoir here. So we surround the verb with ne pas. Okay, and this makes the negation. But you will often notice that the French they just say j'ai pas, j'ai pas. So this first negation, so this is supposed to be a ne, N-E, but because avoir here, j'ai, et, it starts with a vowel, we've just put the apostrophe. Same way, j'ai, I have here, we've lost the E because j'ai, the E starts with a vowel, so we've lost the E and we made an apostrophe. Okay, but you often notice that the French in everyday conversation, they just tend to skip the first N, that first ne or N apostrophe, first part of the negation, and they just say j'ai pas de chien, j'ai pas de chat, right? Okay, but if you want to write correctly, you should 100% write je n'ai pas de chat. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Tu, you, informal. Okay, because if it was formal or plural, it would be vous. Okay, so you, informal, tu. Alors, tu as une voiture. You have a car. Tu as une voiture. Très bien. So, how do you say the negative form now? You would say tu n'as pas de voiture. Tu n'as pas de voiture. And you will hear the French just drop the first N apostrophe and just say t'as pas de voiture? T'as pas de voiture? Okay, but if you want to pronounce everything properly, you would say tu n'as pas de voiture. Tu n'as pas de voiture? But you will see the French that just say t'as pas de voiture? T'as pas de voiture? Okay, so, and now, tu n'as pas de vélo. You don't have a bike. Tu n'as pas de vélo. So how would you say you have a bike? You would say tu as un vélo. Okay. So let's have a look at this next one. He has a pen. Il a un stylo. Oh, but we've already done this, so I'll go a bit quicker. Alors, il n'a pas de cahier. He doesn't have notebook. Il n'a pas de cahier. See, we've just wrapped the verb, this little A, il a. We've wrapped it with the N apostrophe and the pas, the sign of the negation. Il n'a pas de cahier. Okay, and if you want to speak like a total Frenchie, you say il a pas de cahier. Il a pas de cahier. Il a pas de cahier. Okay, so il a un stylo. He has a pen. How would you say if you wanted to say he doesn't have a pen? You would say il a pas de stylo. Oh, il n'a pas de stylo. Okay, but I would just say il a pas de stylo. Il a pas de stylo. Il a pas de stylo. Okay, so now he has an idea. Il a une idée. Okay. So how would you say if you want to say he doesn't have an idea? You would say il a pas d'idée. Il a pas d'idée. And the DE, it would be D apostrophe. You would lose the E because idée starts with a vowel. Il a pas d'idée. Il n'a pas d'idée. So you take your pick whether you want to say il a pas d'idée, like a total Frenchie, or if you want to pronouncing super correctly, il n'a pas d'idée. OK. Alors, il n'a pas de solution. How would you say if he has a solution? How would you say that? You would say il a une solution. Il a une solution. He has a solution. Okay. Right. Il is he. Elle is she. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to this next one. Nous. Alors, nous avons une maison. We have a house. How would you say we don't have a house? You would say on n'a pas de maison. On n'a pas de maison. OK. OK, OK. Alors, on n'a pas de maison. And we have an apartment. Oh, alors, we don't have an apartment here. Nous n'avons pas d'appartement. Okay. See the NE here because avon starts with a vowel. We've dropped the E and we put a little apostrophe. Nous n'avons pas, and we didn't put de appartement because appartement starts with a vowel. So we've dropped the E and we've put the little apostrophe. Nous n'avons pas d'appartement. Okay. Now, how would you put it in the on form? You would say on a un appartement. So this is we have an apartment. On a un appartement. And we don't have an apartment would be on n'a pas d'appartement. On n'a pas d'appartement. Okay. Alors now, vous. Vous is you, plural of formal. Okay? Alors, you have time. Vous avez le temps. This is a bit of a different one. So this is idiomatic expression, which we're going to see really soon. So this stay fixed. So if you want to say you guys don't have time, vous avez pas le temps. So you don't put un ou deux. You just this always stay le temps, the time. You don't have the time. Vous avez pas le temps. Vous avez pas le temps. Vous avez pas le temps. Ok. Alors, vous n'avez pas le temps. If you want to pronounce it super correctly, but you will see the French, they lose this first N and then just say vous avez pas le temps. So it's up to you which way you want to go, but just be prepared to hear this. Vous avez pas le temps. Vous avez pas le temps. Vous avez pas le temps. Right? So this is what you will hear, but you need to learn how to write it properly, right? So vous n'avez pas le temps. Okay, super. So let's see this next one. Alors, il and elle, they, masculine and feminine, plural. Alors, they have pens. Ils ont des stylos. So how would you say they don't have pens? You would say, ils ont pas de stylo. Ils ont pas de stylo. And obviously, if you want to pronounce it properly, c'est ils n'ont pas de stylo. Ils n'ont, and we've got a vowel here, so N apostrophe. Ils n'ont pas de stylo. Okay? They don't have pencils. Ils n'ont pas de crayon. Ils n'ont pas de crayon. And not, ils n'ont pas un crayon. Ils n'ont pas de crayon. Okay? How would you say they have pencils? Plural, hein? Pencils. You would say ils ont des crayons. Ils ont des crayons. Ok, super. So let's see this last one. Elles ont des livres. They have books. Elles ont des livres. Elles ont des livres. Elles ont des livres. And how would you say they don't have books? You would say elles n'ont pas de livres. Elles n'ont pas de livres. But you will hear the French saying elles ont pas de livres. So we wouldn't put the first negation here, orally anyway, and we would say elles ont pas. You have to put the pas. There's no choice. You have to put the pas. Elles ont pas de livres. D-I. Elles ont pas de livres. Okay? So now they don't have magazines. Elles n'ont pas de magazine. Okay? So you would say elles ont pas de magazine. Elles ont pas de magazine. That's if you decide to lose the first N. Elles ont pas de magazine. Elles ont pas de magazine. Ok, super. Right, so that's it for this. I hope you enjoyed it, and I see you in the next video. See you soon.